David McGard. This is Property Value. I talk about commercial real estate focused on South Florida. Let's get this microphone correct. All right. So it's April 8th, 2022. And first article from the South Florida Business Journal. It reads, South Florida reaches peak demand for co-working spaces. And they're talking about office spaces. This is by Eric Boyninsky, reporter, South Florida Business Journal. And it says, from the perspective of the Instant Group, South Florida has reached peak demand for flexible office space, says Luis Perez, the company's Miami-based senior director of real estate solutions. Demand and cost for co-working spaces has increased significantly in Miami and Hollywood and Fort Lauderdale, according to the figures recently released by the London-based firm, which advises and tracks information on co-working spaces across the globe. The trend is especially apparent in Miami's Wynwood Arts District and Brickell Financial District, where I am today. The reason: the world has changed since the pandemic, and many businesses want the freedom to react to uncertain events. In exchange, some are giving up long-term leases, Perez said. I don't know. The last thing they want to do is sign a 5-year lease, Perez told the Business Journal. The solution is going into a flex space that allows a month-to-month lease, but it's higher expenses. Demand for co-working spaces increased 66% between 2020 and 2021 in the city of Miami. That makes sense because Miami opened up earlier than the rest of the nation, and people were still working remotely and people were downsizing. So there was that in-between shift. The cost per desk also increased during this time period. Well, there you go, supply and demand, from $561 a desk in 2020 to $578 a desk in 2021. So not a huge increase. We're talking $10. Accommodations for 3 to 9 people. Desks saw the most growth in the market, up 83% year over year. Meanwhile, requests for 2 people or fewer were up 63%. 10 to 25 person accommodations were up only 21% because 10 to 25 people, you're still using your regular footprint and probably not downsizing to shared space. In the city of Fort Lauderdale, demand for co-working spaces increased by 47% between 2020 and 2021. The cost per desk increased 13% to $487, according to the Instant Group. Demand for the Fort Lauderdale flex spaces for companies with 2 people or fewer went up to 50% and by 54% for businesses with 3 to 9 people. In Hollywood, another town in Broward County, just north of Miami, the demand for co-working office spaces increased by 32% in 2021. Year over year, inquiries for spaces in Hollywood accommodating 2 people or less went up by 50%. So we're seeing a 30 to 50% increase for smaller footprint offices. And I sit in an office right here, shared space in the Miami Brickell Financial District with we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 desks in here. Not sure what the rent was or if it increased or not. And we are just waiting for our headquarters to be built out in the same building. So we are transitional as well as the trends. The demand is picking up. The demand is already filling up most of the spaces, and there's very limited new supplies, Perez says. Demand for quality offices has been increasing in South Florida. Developers and brokers told the Business Journal, a trend that experts believe will continue through 2022. It's within the environment that co-working companies such as Industrious, Quest Workspaces, and CoWork LatAm have made moves to increase the size of their respective operations in South Florida. So that's office. I'm going to jump over to the next article, which pertains to, this is from the Real Deal, South Florida, written by Catherine Kalergis. Headline states, tighter lending standards foiling condo deals after Surfside collapse. Let's see what they have to do. Condo associations and property management firms are refusing to comply with new lending standards that aim to limit lendings for units in structurally unsafe communities, resulting in canceled deals in South Florida and across the country. So it seems like they're not lending on single units in particular buildings that have unsafe structures. Makes sense. The move by Fannie Mae at the start of the year and Freddie Mac as of March 1st is in response to the deadly condo collapse in Surfside last summer, which killed 98 people and in some cases left their families on the hook for their mortgages. The federal agencies now require associations or property managers to answer questions about the health of the building that lenders would be backing. For condo buyers, especially first time buyers who have been priced out of the single family homes and face steep apartment rent increases, somewhere around 26% year over year rent increases, and existing owners seeking refinances, the tighter lending standards have already had an effect on the market. Not to mention, with the Fed's raising rates and inflation, this must be a real squeeze now on um, potential condo buyers. Some condo associations have refused to fill out the updated questionnaires, which ask whether a regulating or inspection agency has directed a property to make repairs due to the unsafe conditions. Some condo associations have refused to fill out the updated questionnaires. I think that's where we started in the first place, and one of the reasons why, because of the collapse in Surfside. So let's read on. Some of the most affordable housing in Florida is condos, said Christine Pappas, president of Florida Realtors and vice president of the Keys Company. It's already was tough enough for our condos to be purchased by the first-time home buyers, and this has made it extremely tough and disheartening for buyers. So, would you rather buy a would you rather buy a condo in a structure that's unsafe and have it to be a little tougher to buy that or know that a questionnaire has been filled out in the right perspective by the condo association declaring that the building is actually safe? So I don't think it really makes sense what Christina Pappas from the Keys Company is actually talking about. Anything you say can and will be used against you, headline says. There are workarounds, experts say, but many prospective buyers are reporting delays in getting financing. If a lender or a mortgage servicer doesn't accept a partially filled out questionnaire, that suggests it will be difficult to close loans at the same property in the future. Maybe if a condo association doesn't fill out the questionnaire or fills out half of it, maybe you shouldn't live there in the first place. I don't know. That's just my perspective. Even if a buyer is seeking a conventional loan that's not Fannie or Freddie backed, most conventional lenders follow the same guidelines, which they should. It's safety. For most of the 30-year fixed rate mortgages, either a bank or a company is selling them to Fannie or Freddie, or they may want to be able to. They don't want to create a loan they can't sell or keep on their balance books, said Greg Garcia, president of Capital Partners and Mortgages, a lender in Florida. Liability is also a major issue for associations and property management firms. So you're telling me the association doesn't want the liability, but what's the liability? We're talking about humans and life here. I think people have the right to know if the building is safe or not. Some management companies have taken the stance of, we've been advised by counsel not to answer, Garcia said. You can't understand their reluctance. She said, you can understand their reluctance. I can't understand it. I want to know if the building that I'm trying to buy a condo in is safe or not. And if you can't give me those answers, I'm going to go somewhere else that Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae want to lend in. It makes sense. This pushback of not being able to answer questionnaires is kind of ridiculous. Defendants have started to settle litigation surrounding the Surfside tragedy with the victims and families and survivors by paying out insurance policies. Becker, the law firm that represented the Champlain Towers South Condo Association prior to collapse, agreed to pay $31 million. And the engineering firm that inspected the beachfront building for its 40-year recertification is paying $16 million. So don't you want that association to tell you that maybe you shouldn't live in this building if they're going to pay out these hefty fees because they didn't do the right thing. The condo association itself, which allegedly ignored years of warnings about problems with the building, is a target of a primary lawsuit, which is seeking class action status. So right there, condo association itself, which allegedly ignored years of warnings. It ignored years of warnings. Why don't these other condo associations actually learn from this and fill out the right questionnaire? And maybe if they can't fill out the questionnaire correctly, they should look into their own associations and their own engineering and the building that they're representing and fix some things. Everything has changed as a result of the collapse. Good, said Frank Simon, general counsel and a partner at KW Property Management and Consulting. The federal government that backs these mortgages doesn't want to be on the hook for no collateral. In a survey performed by Community Associations Institute, 35% of its members reported a delay in lender approval, and 27% said they had loans denied because the questions are not being answered. That's not specific to one price point. Brokers, lawyers, and property managers say if associations don't comply with it and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac refuse to issue loans, then that becomes a vicious cycle, Simon said. That could have a negative effect on property values. We're worried about property values, and we're worried about timing on getting financing rather than people's life and the life of actually the building. He pointed out that the KW doesn't have an official stance on how associations should respond. Maybe they should have an official stance. Maybe that official stance should be in the side of the human being, in their, security of the building's going to be there. The June collapse of the towers south didn't slow condo sales in South Florida, but it did accelerate the trend of condo buyouts of older properties in need of repairs. Some investors and developers seeking bulk deals have targeted unit owners of older properties that have been put on notice by the city or county building departments. The prospective buyers either want to fix units and lease them or acquire all the units in the building to then demolish the condo and build something new. That's a good idea. Get rid of the old and actually build a secure structure that Fannie or Freddie Mac will lend in. Sounds good to me. Overall, South Florida condo sales and median prices have continued to grow, surpassing single-family home sales. Affordability has weakened. So what's the problem? We have growth in condo sales. Nationwide, a quarter of the residential sales are all cash, according to the National Association of Realtors. Yet, in South Florida, cash sales account for about half of all condo sales. Even in the new condo development market, investors are scooping up more affordable units that have rental flexibility, limiting the buying pool to just investors who have already dominated in the most expensive in the housing market. No, it said 50%. It didn't say limiting the buyer pool. It's 50%. There's still 50% of inventory out there to be bought with loans. When you restrict the opportunity to purchase a home, you open the door for essential housing stock to be scooped up by investors. What's wrong with investors buying it? People need to rent because that's what investors are going to do. So if rental prices have gone up 26%, the only buyers to pay all cash for the purchase, Don Bauman, a senior vice president of Community Associations Institute, said in a press release about the impact of new questionnaires. Chris Cash, senior vice president of national operations at Hamilton Home Loans, said he is still able to complete the questionnaires verbally with associations or property management firms. Everybody that they're actually talking to is on the mortgage side. So, of course, the mortgage side wants to have growth and they want to sign mortgages. So, of course, they don't want to have this association questionnaire. It goes against what they're trying to do, and they're trying to sign mortgages. 6 months from now, they may fix it, he said, referring to Fannie and Freddie. If a lender rejects a loan participation in a building, it doesn't mean a condo is not blacklisted. Potential loopholes. A new law in Miami-Dade County aims to increase transparency regarding condo and homeowners associations, financial and structural health, which could benefit would-be buyers. Benefit buyers, what does it do for the lenders? Associations will be required to file structural reports, financial statements, insurance policies, budgets, and major planned projects to the county by February 1st, 2023, and continue to do so on an annual basis. We're in 2022. You would think that already associations would be required to file structural reports, financial statements, insurance policies, budgets, and major planned projects to the county. I don't know. It's just my point of view. As it stands, buyers are forced to rely on sellers to provide that information. Buyers are forced to or rely on the seller. The seller wants to sell. The seller's going to tell you anything. By law, sellers have to turn over financial documents and assessment reports to buyers only when a sales contract has been signed and the buyer requests the information. That transparency of documents will help lenders. Buyers know what they are getting into prior to an inspection or an appraisal, said Pappas of the Keys Company. That will save buyers time and money, both which are increasingly limited in today's market, especially as interest rates tick up. We believe this will mitigate that, she said. Simon, who is president of his own homeowners association, said associations may or not understand what the question is and why it's been asked. It's not their point to be questioning why the question is being asked. If they were doing their job right, this questionnaire wouldn't even exist. Unlike the issue of insufficient reserves, safety questions are generally still required to be answered, even when buyers are putting down big deposits of 25%. Pappas noted, which happened with a listing that the Keys Company had a senior living community. It can be very scary from a buyer's perspective when you're told a lender cannot lend in a building, Pappas said. We are seeing anecdotally many associations let our buyers and sellers know they will not be filling these questionnaires out. Boy, that's a welcoming association. Garcia, the mortgage lender, and others said that if the associations refuse to answer questions or fill out the questionnaires, the lenders can sometimes obtain the information from the seller or someone on the association board. Tough, it takes a bit more time and a lot more documentation. Well, that doesn't even seem like it's right if they're going to just do a loophole and go around the association and ask the seller, which they were supposed to do in the first place, and that didn't work. We have closed some transactions we didn't think we would approve, Garcia said. Maybe those transactions really shouldn't have been approved. With one recent loan, the association was asked if there had been a recent engineer's report, how much needed repairs would cost, and how much the building had in reserves. The building had $2 million worth of work that needed to be completed, with only $200,000 in the bank. But the lender got the seller involved, and the seller was able to provide the engineer's report. It showed that the repairs were cosmetic in nature and planned to be completed according to a set schedule. It was deemed to be acceptable, Garcia said, but it would not have happened without extra due diligence. I would anticipate over time it should get a bit clearer which condos are okay and which are not. Extra due diligence because they got the engineering report. That doesn't seem like extra due diligence. It just seems like due diligence. Wow. Well, we'll follow that. And I'm definitely on the side of condo associations need to clean up their act, fill out those questionnaires, get real engineering reports, and have enough reserves if something goes wrong in the building and it needs to be corrected. But that's just me. Okay, so after we got riled up on that one, probably because I live in a condo building, I wanted to take a quick look at the industrial market. I have up on the screen right there. This is industrial market. If I pull up the map, it shows all of South Florida, which is Palm Beach County on the top. The middle is Broward and Miami-Dade in the bottom. And this is also reflecting buildings that have been built after 2015. So probably majority of it is Class A, I would imagine. Let's go back to the analytics real quick. It says for industrial property that's been built after 2015, there's 45 million square feet, and that's up 20% year over year. It also says, this is very interesting, that there's nothing under construction. And you would think that South Florida is one of the hottest markets for e-commerce. We have the Miami port, Miami airport, one of the best importing. Miami is a gate. It's known as a gateway city to South America. And there's nothing under construction. I just wonder if that's a real data point or if it's not. We had net absorption of 9.5 million, 26% up last year, square foot. Vacancy rates at 9.9. And market rental rate per square foot is $12, almost $13. I believe that's industrial gross. So if, expenses are probably $2.50, $3. So you're looking at like $9 triple net for a rental rate, and that's gone up 19%. Not as high as the 26% of the you know the multifamily sector, but 19% year over year is pretty robust. Market sale price over $215 per square foot, up 15% year over year. It's showing a 5% cap rate. I don't really believe. I mean, that's a blend from all the classes, as well as three counties making up South Florida. Down in Miami, let's see if this actually changes. If I just come down here and take out Palm Beach, take out Broward real quick, leave in Miami-Dade, and see how that cap rate changes. I'm interested. See if it 5%. What if I go over and look at the building type, building size? See if we put Class A, how that changes everything. Waiting for it to dial back up. Still 5%. Yeah, not really believing that cap rate, because down here in Miami, if you have a Class A industrial, I'm talking about 34 clear height, dock height distribution property, you know, tenants are 50 to 100 to 150,000 square foot footprints. That trades for low 4% cap rates. Some say high 3%, sub 4. Now, I've been working on some cold storage, and a new cold storage 300 square foot lease was signed at $20 triple net. That's incredible. $20 triple net. Property that I'm working on was built around 2009, and then they did an extension 2019, so it's a blend. And we're saying it's somewhere in between 1650 to $18 triple net. Cold storage now. This is freezer. These are Class A, beautiful facilities trading. This is industrial right here at over 200. Class A is around high twos to $300 a square foot. Industrial is off the chain. And what I see, and it shows that Miami's not has 0% under construction. But if you look, do one more look. If you look location, and if I add St. Lucie County. St. Lucie County is just the next county above Miami-Dade or Palm Beach County, which is end of South Florida, really. Oops, I wanted to take out. Still says zero construction. Yeah, that construction is. Let me look at the map real fast. Sorry to dork out on this, but maybe this is falling under proposed or something. Flex, because I know that there's some Class A. Anyways, not to digress, but if you look, let me show that again. That's Fort Pierce. That's I-95, major interstate, and there is action going on in Port St. Lucie County, which is that. This is Class A industrial space being built up there along the I-95 corridor. So there is industrial being built, and why wouldn't there be? It's a robust market, right? So there we go. Talked about co-space in office. We talked about associations and their lending and tightening up with their questionnaires. We looked at some industrial markets and saw where that is in rent growth year over year, price per square foot, cap rates. Let's go one more place. Let's look at this that just keeps on going up. The 10-year Wall Street Journal markets 10-year Treasury yield is at 2.699% today, April 8th, 2022. That just keeps rising. Let's go over to the mortgage rates. Says this is from NerdWallet. On Friday, April 8th, 2022, the average APR on the 30-year fixed rate mortgage rose 2 base points to 4.965. The average APR on a 15-year rate mortgage rose 3 basis points to 4%, and the average APR for 5-year adjustable rate mortgage rose 2 base points to 3.5, according to the rates provided to NerdWallet by Zillow. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage is at 21 base points higher than 1 week ago, and 200 base points higher than 1 year ago. The base point is 1/100th of a 1%. Rates are expressed as annual percentage rates of APR. 21 basis points higher than 1 week ago. That's how I feel, because I am trying to do a cash out refinance on our new renovated townhouse. And man, I'm chasing the rates. Well, hope you guys enjoyed today. I'll see you on Monday. Enjoy your Friday and your weekend. I'm David McGard. This has been Property Value. See you next week. Bye.